evening, all. I have to always do. Can you? All right, good. I got to check myself on the screen over here. I got audio, which is always good for me, the tech genius that I am. Guys, Bills, Dolphins, this is the moment. Obviously, for the Bills, they got a lot riding on it. They're expected to go. He was on the Madden cover or whatever, but it's huge for us. This is as big as it gets. But I'm more impassioned about my Dolphins, obviously, than the Bills. As a football value, I love it. But this is going to be an historic moment for the Dolphins. You're talking a long build now. All the picks from Tunsil, all the acquisition and moves we did, everything is built to this one moment. And, the Dolphins are beat up. But look what the Ravens did, beat up against us at home. It's our turn to show the world who we are. Are we choke artists? Are we overhyped? Or are we winners? So I'm going to get into it, guys. Tonight I already had some chats all the way up over here. You can check it out where I couldn't wait to talk about football. Did some heavy lifting the last couple of days. I'm so tired. I had an energy drink before I did this, like one of my pre-workout things, and then like a glass of wine. So I'm ready to rock and roll. So I hope everybody's doing good tonight. Let's get talking to football. I'm going to do this as an evaluator. I'm not here to rah-rah you. I think that's unfortunately a lot that people want. I see, we lose last week. We're the worst ever. And then half the people that covered the thing and, the fans were the week before saying we're the greatest ever. And I really don't believe in that. I do believe we have a chance to win this week. I don't think it's the higher odds. I think the higher odds is the Bills winning. They got 2.5 on us, and we're home. So clearly they got the edge, but that doesn't mean anything. This is football. How do we coach? How do we play? How do we perform? How do we keep our heads about us? How physical are we? Zonka, what's going on? Never tried that pre-workout. My body's hurting, man. It's so. I was lifting. I started doing some heavy benching, and I do a little bit here and there. But I said, I'm tired of this. I'm just turned 52, so I got to go. My second midlife crisis. Last year was my first one. This is my second one. So I started in an incline, and I got the cold chills, and my body is saying, like, Curtis, it's time for bed. So I took the pre-workout and a glass of wine, and I like it, man. It's you're going up and then you're going down, so you're kind of going sideways in a very nice manner. I'm enjoying myself right now. I think it might be kind of part of my normal routine. So anyway, there's some good comments before up here, and if you guys get a chance, take a look at some. I love the comments. So many good, smart people that come on here to help me keep this thing looking good. But we were talking a little bit above there. Hey, Brian, what's going on, brother? It's great to see you, man. Great to see you. How you doing? How's your new year? I hope it was good, man. I hope everybody had a great new year. I forgot. I'm not a holiday guy. When I grew up, it was like every holiday was Halloween, so I never really paid attention to them. My wife gets me to pay attention to them. So forgive me if I should have opened up with that. So Happy New Year to everybody. Let's see, Sean. Hey, Sean, what's going on? What's up, Curtis? I think we got to run the ball good so the linebackers move up and go to Hill and what? Yeah, I said that at the beginning of the year, I guess, I'm like the heel of the Dolphins coverage. If we do really good, I'm kind of the guy saying, hey, hold it back. And then when we do really bad, I'm like, hey, it's not as bad. I kind of take the opposite side of the trade for the most part. But the one thing I was saying all year was the running game was key. And I wasn't too high on it, even though we had these huge numbers, because it's not the numbers. It's who you go against and how you run. And that inside stuff, man, is going to be the absolute key. We tallied, 150, 160 yards last week, and Ravens still sat in the light box all day. So it's not about the yards or the big pop runs. They sucked us out of that light box many times, way more than usual, because they hit it inside. And so that's a big deal. To me, it's how we run, where we run. Tom, what's going on? Dolphins use the run game with short passes, control the clock, move the chains, keep it close in the fourth quarter, and win on the final drive. Yeah, that's the plan. But this is the only problem with that. And, I really love the game. I love studying it. And if you go check when Peyton Manning and Brady cried like babies to the league, they're messing with my receivers. And they changed all the rules to a fun gun league. And all the passing numbers blew up. Unbelievable, like ridiculous amounts. I think it was like the very first year, like 6 or 7 all-time records were broke. And it was 4 or 5, 6 years of just craziness. And then maybe 4 or 5 more years, 6 years of like, big. But now it's been coming down, 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 and down, and down. And football is a strategy game first. It's tactics and strategy above everything. And the next thing below that's talent. And we're seeing the talent cycles and the coaching cycles. Now they flip the game, and that fun and gun system has been capped off in a lot of ways. So if you complement your run game with the short passes, all that does is keep the nickel and the light box on the field, which means you're throwing against and going against a passing defense. And the objective is if you can't even get them out of that nickel, because a lot of people just never leave the nickel, you've got to get them to creep up. You've got to get them to bite on the play action. You got to get that safety to come up. You got to get run blitzes. And so if you're not getting the full conversion out of that light box to the 3-4, the 4-3, you've got to get some of this stuff, or else you're not going to have a consistent passing game. And you look at the passing stats across the league, and I think it's saying that. So, yeah, I agree, but it's still going to come to the inside game. Crazy as usual. Happy New Year to you. Very nervous. Yeah, I'm very nervous about this game. I'm totally transparent. I don't like Chris Grier. I don't like Chris Grier as a person, and I don't like him as a GM. I don't. But I've been fair, and I've been the one saying when we lost to the Philly and KC, I do believe there's a road for us. And just because I don't like a guy, it doesn't mean he doesn't know more than me or he's not going to be right. So I am nervous about this game, but part of me is like, I don't believe in this build. I don't believe in the ultra finesse build. I saw ways through it, but it was so touch and go. It was so like spit and bale wire made because of the way they built this offensive line and what they have at the tight end position. The physicality is so limited. So I am nervous in a sense, but this is a big game. But part of me is like, I've never believed in it, but I'm hoping to be wrong. I'm hoping, like when Shula, I would like tell Shula, you're wrong. I remember the fake spike game. Dan Marino wanted to go for it, and Shula called him off. They had a little fight or whatever. I'm like, you're an idiot, Shula. And then we won the game with the fake spike. I'm like, I love that. I love when my coaches and my leaders are smarter than me. And I'm just not sure that he is yet. He's got to prove it to me, and this is going to be an opportunity. Can we run them out of the nickel with guys we have on Sunday? Yeah, of course we can. But we might not. You got Daquan coming back and Oliver. Oliver's a little weak against the run. They got a small linebacking group. Rousseau is great. You got Vaughn, who's got a week off, and so maybe he's going to give everything he's got. Floyd's not really good on an edge. Espinosa is not really a great run blocker. So we can, but Eichenberg and Cotton is a huge concern. And McDermott, a lot of Bills fans get down on him, but he makes some really good calls. He has some great layering of his blitzes. He'll run blitz, pass blitz, and it comes really fast. He's done a brilliant job this year. This high-powered offense is now driven by defense and a run game. So we can, but I'm just not, I'm not high on it because we haven't done it yet. If you go back, people keep talking, and McDaniel make the mistakes, Fangio and Tua, and they did, but there's one theme to every single game. They played nickel on us all day. They didn't blitz us, and they got pressure, and we couldn't run them out of it. And to me, that's the key. That is the key. But, that's just my key. So we'll see. I'm hoping we get Hunt back. Crazy, we only had 5 games with our starting lineman was versus Denver. Yeah, and Denver just really wasn't there. They were missing a bunch of guys, and they really weren't hard to try. But I believe, like I said, I don't believe in Grier. I didn't believe in this offensive line build. But I said if you got Teron, Connor, and Hunt, and Hill and Waddle with Tua, I mean, you could do all kinds of stuff. It's insane. But we got a little extra unlucky with the offensive line injuries. But Wynn, who thought Wynn was going to last the whole season? I said it was like the first thing out of him. I said, yeah, he can't run block. He suffers from power, and he's going to get injured. And you know what you're talking about, So and then you got Cotton. Who would put Cotton on your team in like a must-win season? Who would take Eichenberg and have him be your backup center when he's never succeeded at anything? So there's a lot of beyond that. There's a lot of questionable decisions. But again, they could change the whole narrative. This is a narrative shifter right here. Hey, Bill's nuts. If they don't activate playoff Lenny, perfect for this game. Bill's nuts. If they don't activate playoff. Who's playoff Lenny? Oh, yeah. Fournette. You talk about Fournette? Fournette is a beast, man. I think you took Greerwood. Yeah, Greer's not too bright. Maybe the wine's kicking in. I'm not processing properly. Sorry, brother. Help me translate. The first play of the first game against the Bills, Coach McD blitzed, side blitz to it. Yeah. Well, he opened up. I don't know if he blitzed that. That's a really good memory. But I know he played zone for the first 2 drives, and then he went back. He went to the blitz. I should go back, and I'm going to go back. You got me want to go back and watch it tomorrow. All I know is we need tight ends. Yeah, that's what I said during the draft. I said we need that. And people said, no, A-Chain, Cam. And I understood in theory, but you have no physicality. We don't have any real physicality. Connor and Hunt were our main physicality. Now, Ingold and Smythe, they give their bodies, but it's just Ingold's, he's a good pass blocker, but he struggles in the run game. He'll hit and miss. Smythe's been in and out. He's hit and miss. Julian Hill's no good. And so we are ultra finesse, and we were ultra thin. And so I thought it was a little risky. Somebody was saying, I got to answer back in the comments. It's a really good comment. I was going, but I when you guys get good comments, it takes me a couple of days to formulate an opinion. And he said, I didn't like this whole thing about Grier being a dunce or a genius. And in the totality, yeah, I think that's a fair statement by him. But when it came to the offensive line, it was nuts what he did. And he was so brazen to say that, they're worried about our depth. And then you just, you can go back and you look at how little sacks and pressures. We get the ball out like insanely fast, 0.2 or 0.3 seconds more than almost every team in the league. So I just thought that was ridiculous of him. But he could prove it wrong. We go to the conference championship at least, and he will have totally validated everything. Diggs and Allen are not beefing. OC changes focused on run game, and Sheffield is a better blocker. Diggs back. Yeah, no, they're good, because I think the beef was with Dorsey, because he had said at one point, he said, get me the ball. And he said, go play for the other team. And everyone thought it was Allen, but Allen wouldn't say that. It would be Dorsey. Dorsey sucked. He was terrible. I had a bad feeling with this guy, right out to shoot. And I got to do this thing. He said, you got to my words are captured. So you can go see. I said, Brady, I called this whole formula for the Bills 3 years ago. And I said, Brady coming in, if he's just not half retarded and he's got any kind of intestinal fortitude, it's going to be a big turnaround. So no, Diggs is doing good. But you know what? Allen looks a little dinged. I've been watching a lot of Allen, and his technique has always been a little bit sloppy, but that ball's not coming out with the same zip. It's coming in short on those deep balls. It looks like he had a shoulder injury and a neck injury. Something seems to be up. And, I love the guy. I really do. I think he's a great person. I think he's a great talent. But, it's kind of good for us, Let me see where we at. Let me get some more of these questions, and I'll get on to the show. Let's see. Playoff Lenny catching the backfield and sure. Oh, yeah, Lenny Fournette. That's what I thought you meant. Yeah, and just being physical. Just being physical is more. Hey, Amy, what are you doing? How you doing tonight? How you doing, sister? It's good to see you all the time, She's coming in and slumming with the Dolphins fans. Is Moser playing tonight? I think so, but I don't think he's going to be an every down back. And that hurts us. This guy is so physical. You want to talk about the physical part of the game? It's him. Unfortunately, he's 32 years old, and all his physical play has beat him up. And, it's a shame. He's such a good player. If we had more blocking for him, he could have had unbelievable year. He already did, but I think it would have been even better. This guy was such a talent. But I think he's going to play, but he's not going to. I don't think he's going to be 100%. He had a shoulder. Hey, Raymond, he had a shoulder injury this year and a finger versus Pats last week. Oh yeah, somebody said so. And yeah, Alex's swollen finger. Yeah, this guy takes a beating, man. And, he's tough as nails, but it does open the door for opportunity for us. So it'll be very, very interesting. Yeah, Tua and Allen. Tua's got the issue too with the quad and the shoulder, I believe. So this is gut check time. This is for the whole enchilada. Let me get into it. I'm going to do a couple more of these. I love you guys' comments. I could just do this all night because you guys got great comments. I'm going to take some of your comments and put them in my PC so I sound smart. You hit the nail on the head. The Dolphins were built for sizzle, but there's no steak. I compare it to what Dan Campbell is doing with the Bill. Yeah, exactly. We didn't like Dan Campbell. We didn't want Dan Campbell. We wanted Gase. If you noticed, from the top, it's a very plastic. We're very plastic. We're very sizzle. And I don't know if that comes from Greer or Ross or both. Greer does some good things. Don't get me wrong. His wheeling and dealing, his ability to manipulate the cap, and he does hit on some big picks. But I don't understand. He came from the Parcells lineage, and he just doesn't seem to know how to get physical. I don't get it. Anyway, so I'm going to get into it. Bills versus Dolphins. For me, it's the run game. You look at the Bills, they have gone heavy into the run. You even look at Kansas City, they're going to lean heavy into that run. Pass balance and moving to the run game is what every team pretty much is doing. There is no pass-happy teams right now that are having grand success. I can't think of one right now. And so it's going to come down to stopping the run and running football. And stopping the run has always been a major aspect of how you do in the postseason. You go back and you check the last, almost, I don't know, maybe the last 5 or 6 Super Bowls, and it was the run game that altered things. That was like one of the main pieces of the puzzle almost every Super Bowl. So, during the season, you can get by with the flash and dance. So you can see what we did to some of these teams. But against the good teams, especially in the postseason, you've got to be able to run that football. And so that's really the keys for me. And I'll get into that in a second. Ace, do you think Bills, they better? Yeah. Now, I've seen some weaknesses. I mean, this is just me. I'm not like football brainiac or anything. Just my take. But he's had a little bit of that. The offense over the last 2 weeks from the Charger game, it was really good. The first couple of weeks, it was on fire, both in the pass and the run. But the last 2 weeks, it's kind of gotten it hasn't been as consistent, and it looks like they've been having a harder time getting guys open and Allen finding them. It's been a lot of runs and then like broken plays or like a big play. And so, I'm a little concerned about that. I need to see how he does. I loved what he did. I thought Evie was like, half dead. He'd have done better than Dorsey. So this is where he's going to make his game right here. I just feel like even McDaniel, I believe McDaniels does a really good job in a lot of the pass game, but there's like this sense, I don't really see like slant routes and short combo. Like if you go back and watch McDaniel with the Patriots, with Mac that last year, he was a master craftsman of his route combinations. And so I got to see what Brady does. Obviously if you go far into the playoffs, he's going to earn it. But so far, he should have been the guy starting the year. You guys ran away with the division. No. It's so ridiculous. It's pretty cool what Eichenberg's done this season. The reason he struggled, Smith is like, these guys are selling, man. And I don't know if they're told to sell or they have to sell. But it was communication issues. It wasn't communications issues when Daquan put him on skates and drove him into the backfield. And, come on. No, but, he might be able to be enough. But when you watch some of the best stuff that we had inside, it was Connor and Hunt working together. Those guys were such great synergy for each other. And I don't know, because Jackson can't run block. I mean, he can zone block and shield, but he ain't driving people off. Cotton isn't driving people off. Eichenberg isn't driving people off, and Tehran struggles with driving people off. The only one who can right now is Hunt. But you never. For me, if it was me, idiot me, I'd have put Jones at left guard. I'd have put Hunt at right guard, and I would have tried a little bit more inside zone. It's not like we don't use it. It would have just been a little bit of different persuasion, and we could have been physical. But we'll see. I don't know why they never got a solid because Greer spent a second and third round pick on Eichenberg, and he had to find a reason to keep him. We got rid of Feeney, who was at least experienced, but Greer wants to save his resume. It's and in the media, guys. There's so many of these big guys that I love, but it's clearly they're selling stuff. Like there was this one article that came out right here by Barry Jackson just before the Ravens game. How the Dolphins have turned a 3-decade blind spot into a strength. What a load of garbage. Maybe he believes it, but that's kind of crazy. It's like, even people telling me, Jackson's the Pro Bowl term. Jackson, watch him the last 3 or 4 games. Oh, well, it's oblique. No, every time he goes against good competition, he struggles. He's okay at times. But Eichenberg and Jackson have been forced to be on this to keep Greer's resume going. And no coach in their right mind would go into a season with Cotton, Jones, Eichenberg, and Jackson. Nobody. Lamb was a good pickup, but he was one-dimensional. So, how about running and bringing the end bring the end around? I haven't seen us try this. Yeah, maybe, but I don't know. I think McDaniel, I've been trying for the last 2 years to be very level-headed and not really kind of get on anybody because I have my prejudice. I don't like Greer, don't like this build. But I've always tried to see the way through. I don't know if I like McDaniels, our head coach. I don't know if he's got what it takes to do it. But come on, man. You don't bring a run coordinator who is in the booth, bring him down, make him the head coach, make him the caller, and then tell him he's got to win now in 2 years and make the most, of a high point talent season, and then give him this offensive line. I think he gets overwhelmed because he can't do the simple stuff. Simple, I forgot who it was. I think it was the last game. I've been saying it for years. People, offensive linemen, anybody who's ever played a game loves to run block. It just gives you confidence. I said the same thing about the Bills fans, about their offensive line. You can't sit in pass sets all day. You got to hit guys. And it's the easier thing. It elevates the talent level of the offensive line. And we just don't have the sand in the pants to do it. And that's really tough. That's really tough on Mike McDaniels. He's been kind of like put in a good position because he's got Hill and Waddle and Tua, and everybody says, oh, what a genius. But the wall comes and then they call him an idiot. You need basic stuff. Look at the 49ers, what they got. Let's see. We had this dub. Go Bills. Excuse my attendance. No worries. Amy, you're the best. Get out of here, sister. Good luck on Sunday. I kind of mean that. You know what I mean. You're the best. Get out of here. Thank you for everything, as always. Send the FB up the gut. Yeah, well, the problem is when we run the eye, it's good. I think we should run it and just slam it in there inside zone. But when you get into inside zone, Eichenberg is weak. Cotton is weak. And, we can maybe work off Hunt. I still think, but then you got Jackson next to him. And so I don't know. We got to do something to be physical. We've got to do something to be physical. And people are saying, the Dolphins offense is physical. They are in a sense, but not top 5, not top 10, not even top 15. They just don't have the horses. So we got to try it because you got to keep this team honest. I'm gonna get into. I'm gonna go a few more of these, and I'll get into the actual meat of the podcast. You guys got great comments, man. I really appreciate everything you guys do. It's really cool stuff. Last chance to come to South and see some wheel routes. Frank Smith needs a better role. I don't know, John. I'm not a really big fan of Frank Smith. And I don't know again if it's his situation because last year he was trying to sell like Jones over Eichenberg, and it was a real tough decision. And then last year, the offensive line guy got cut out because he kind of wanted Jones over Eichenberg from what it seemed. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Smith. He seems a little, like, I don't know, not genuine maybe, but that's just my take. I could be totally wrong. I'm not a big fan of him. I think he's overhyped a little bit. Miami needs to run. Hey, Joe, what's going on? Oh, yeah. John, Happy New Year, man. You're my man. Happy New Year. I don't know if you were here earlier on. I just want to say Happy New Year. Joe, Happy New Year to you, too. Run the ball against about two. Yeah, if we can run the ball inside, we'll win. If we can run the ball against any of these teams, we'll win. Who's your younger Van Ginkel, Amy, or something like that? He's playing up the par. Yeah, Van Ginkel's great, but we didn't want him. It took Fangio to bring him back. That was my guy. I thought we should have kept him over and not gotten Chubb and used those picks elsewhere, but that's just dummy. It sounds like Jones may be playing left guard if Hunt is returning to line. I hope. Garrett, Happy New Year to you, brother. Always great to see you. I've been saying that for a long time, man. Just put these two big guys in there. Jones does struggle at the zone stretch, but he played right guard, so put him at left guard, and then run some power stuff. I mean, I think the power stuff would open everything else up. Tom, what's going on? Curtis, general football question. Why don't we see split back formations any longer? I think you still see some. There's some teams that come out with like two running backs. It's just the problem is that the NFL fell into the fun ball idea, and running backs aren't receivers. You get somebody like Hill or Cook, and these guys are able to get out there and use that speed. But you get the two running backs out there, and it's just not the same potency. But I think you could see it come back because the way the NFL is moving, it is going to pass balance. But it would be. I miss the old days. I was one of the split backs back when I first started playing. Oliver and Daquan, could you cause trouble for Tua? Oh, totally, 100%, Sal. Yeah. But Daquan, I don't know. Last week he was decent. Will Russ fall off? Because when he played against us the first week, he was a monster. Bring back Zonka Morrison kick. Yeah, I think the physical game is coming back. Now, there's a lot that goes into that too. The concept of the two backs. Remember that the offensive line's not getting two-a-days, and so the people are a little concerned about the running, the blocking in general. But again, I think it goes back to that run blocking is easier, and so it's all this pass blocking with guys that you got guys coming in and out. They don't have the same chemistry, and that's another reason why the Bills are very dangerous. Same combo almost all year, and I think that's why they're playing so well. I would love to see Wilkins get short yardage. Yeah, he was a big boy. He does a good job. We need to be physical. You need to be physical. You need to beat people up. I think we've seen split back. Haven't we seen split back before? We had Achane and Mostert maybe. I mean, once or twice I think I saw. But it wasn't looking like the old wing T, But even though I think Lamar was doing the wing T for a while and split backs, he was using it for a real long time, but he just doesn't do that stuff anymore. They're trying to keep him young. Happy New Year, young man. Run the ball 40 times and take your shots down. Yeah, you got to. We got to be smart. The Bills, I'm going to get into it now. The Bills' offense is a little stagnant. They went from head puncher, knockout artist, into body blow with a few head shots. And so I don't think this is going to be one of those crazy high-scoring games, unless we blow it open. They're more into loads of body blows. Allen's doing a lot of running, cold runs. So I think that we need to be patient. And that's one thing I would say in my humble opinion. Again, I'm no expert, but McDaniel's a little impatient. And is that impatience driven out of I don't trust my offensive line, I got to score, or what? I don't know. Maybe it's just youth and just not being I don't know. He's a little impatient. And I don't see the small ball calls from him that I really, really like. He'll call some nice fourth down calls and third down pass plays and stuff. But his resume his menu is a little bit thin. And you know, but again, he was your run game coordinator who was asked to do it all. And that's a lot. That's a lot to ask. So Zonka said the turkey is on the table. My mom was a fan and knew. Oh, wow. Wow, I would love to. I love Zonka. I really respect him beyond. I think above every single Dolphin player, I respect him the most. He was my childhood hero. In my library, we had the old football books in the 70s, and there was one just on Zonka. That was my first book report was on Zonka. And I just love that guy. I love the tough guy attitude. I love his integrity. I love he loves the outdoors. I love Zonka. I wished I could meet him. I love to meet Dan Marino, but I think the one person I would like to meet more than him would be Don Shula, obviously. But then Larry Zonka, but also Brian Cox, and maybe Zach too. But there's a couple in there. But Zonka is like I think number 2 or number 1. Was born 19. I know. I can't believe he's so old. Not to say anybody else out there that's that old, but I can't. He always seems to me like 45. I just seems like 45, 77. Wow, I'm 52. I can't even believe I'm 52. All right, guys. I'm gonna get into it. I love your comments. I wish we could just hang out and have a nice little party and talk and eat some food, talk football and Dolphins and stuff. All right, but let me get on to it. Can RD stop the run? We can. Let me put up my little screen over here. Okay, so this is Hooked Up Joe. What's going on, brother? Just want to say Happy New Year. You know, one of my main guys. So I got a little graph over here. Some people say they have a hard time seeing. I'm working on trying to do better presentation for you guys, but I'll go through it all. So if you see the offense is the Bills, defense is us. Now, Dawkins and Brown. Now, you talk about, Jackson. Brown was a 3rd-round pick, and he is playing lights out, especially in the run game. And so is Dawkins. And they are manning that edge really, really well as far as folding up those edges. Now, I like Chubb being there before, but now you're going to have good Agba and Ingram. And those guys, I think Dawkins is going to have a good day with them. And so I believe we'll be able to limit that interior stuff for a while. But they're going to fold that edge. And Van Ginkel, I like Van Ginkel too, but Brown outweighs him by a ton, almost 100 pounds. And he's run blocking really, really well. Now, next to Brown is Kincaid. I don't like his run blocking. It's actually pretty poor. But he is going to be a nightmare for us because you can see how we've had problems with the tight end position. We've had it for a long, long time. Baker being back might help a little bit, but this guy is a beast. He can actually hurt you like a receiver. There was a big play last week with the Patriots. This guy can almost go to distance. So, you get the play actions, you get the folding of the edges. I don't know if they're going to be able to run on the interior. Torrance is a big boy. I really like what he's doing, but he's kind of leveled off in his run game. Morse is good in the run game, but he's a little bit smaller. McGovern's, he kind of fails more than the rest of the guys. And Sealer and Wilkins and Davis, I think they're going to be solid inside. But it's those edges that do concern me. Apple's good on the edge. Ramsey, not so much. We're going to be playing this nickel look you see here with the 5-wide technique. And so the concern is that if you say Sealer, and then you kick out that edge guy, then you're going to get Riley, Long, and Baker one-on-one with somebody, maybe a pulling, because they like to do a lot of draws, and they'll pull Brown to the left side. And so I think we can maintain that A gap. I'm just not sure. The B gap is what really scares me because Cook is so fast. He hits that B gap, sucks everybody up, and then bounces out to a naked edge. And that is my concern. Now, somebody was talking about Diggs being manned up with Ramsey, and I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's not a good idea, and I'll explain why. Just my take. I'll get into that one, Yuki. Hold on 1 second. It's a good one. Let me get into that. I'm gonna definitely get into that, Yuki. Don't let me forget to get into that one, Yuki. That's a good one. Okay, so thanks, Nick. What's going on? Thank you, brother. Thank you for stopping by, man. I'm going to start doing more Bills coverage, man. I just it's been hard this year, man. It's been hard covering the Dolphins for a number of reasons, and just also my health and stuff like that. Just a lot. But I'm going to get back to you guys. I got to start doing more coverage, and my health is starting to come back. So I'm going to make sure I get back to you, Nick. Nicky, you've been always great, man. So now Diggs, you put Ramsey on Diggs, then just think about it. Automatically, the quarterback knows what that coverage is going to be. And that coverage most likely will then force the rest of the defense probably to be in man or half man. And then even if that's the case, they drag, say Diggs goes down the line of scrimmage, Ramsey goes across the line of scrimmage. That changes the run fits. Everybody has to readjust. And you can see this defense has communication issues. Now, beyond that, so you take Diggs has not been doing well the last couple of weeks, but they've been getting big plays. Davis had some huge plays the week before. Shakir's had big plays the week before. And so then you're going to create Kohu versus Shakir one-on-one. And then you're going to have problems because Allen and that protection drags it to mid to late clock. And that's where Kohu has his problems. He's a good zone guy. He's a good short man cover guy. He's good at long man cover against certain guys, but he's not going to be good against Shakir in mid to late clock. And that's going to put stress on us. And then you got Kincaid. So then you got Kincaid going to be one-on-one on Holland, and you saw Holland got beat by Likely last week, and Likely is slower than Kincaid. Kincaid's more of a threat than Likely. But then my biggest concern would be Davis. Now, Davis is, he'll drop the football or he'll turn into an 80-yard touchdown. He's a big play receiver, and I don't like Apple in coverage against him consistently. And all it takes is, one or two plays, and he could have a huge day. I think you got to keep Allen guessing. You can't, change everything to stop Diggs, because then it just opens up. They have three other guys that can hurt you bad. And so without X, Apple's going to be a problem. Kohu, late clock could be a problem. Holland's good in zone, but I don't like him in man coverage against Kincaid if that's the way it's going to be. So I really don't like the whole concept of us, going against doing the shadowing them all day. It just, it's you bring in Fangio here. He's had success everywhere. Then you bring him in and say, in 1 year, we got to win this year. Come in, and it's an intellectually driven system, and you don't have the talent to really drive the system. And then you get heavy injuries. And we got one of the top defenses in the league, like top 1 or 2 pressures in the league. Our pass coverage last year was 32. It's like high this year. I had 10 or something like that, or 12. And people complaining. Then this is going to go back to Yuki's question. Where's Yuki? I'm seeing a lot of people. Let me get rid of this stupid thing over here. Hold on. I'll get back to that in a second. Yuki, my man. Happy New Year. I'm seeing a lot of people asking for Mike's head. What do you think of him as a head coach? I think, look, you brought Flores in here and you asked him to tank pretty much. You gave him nothing. And he was talked about being fired midway through the season. And he took garbage talent and made something of it. And then the owner was asking him to throw the season or whatever, allegedly. And then you go into year 2 and you got Gailey. And then all of a sudden something happens, then you lose Gailey. And then you got the 3 OCs. You got Greer, trading Van Noy, cutting Van Noy, trading Flowers for nothing, letting Karras walk. And then you fire Flores and you say he's the worst guy in the world. He's a total idiot. He's a monster. He's got dead bodies in the basement. Thank God we got McDaniel. Now we got McDaniel, and now you take a guy who's in the booth. He's young and experienced. You have him come in, you make him call, you make him HC. Then you tell him you got to win right now. You need to get marination. Shula came here, but he was with the Colts for years. This guy was like a vet. He went to the Super Bowl or whatever they call the championship. You got to allow guys time to marinate. We went from slow build to instant win now and brought a green head coach in and gave him no offensive line. Well, it was good. It was decent with Tehran, Connor, and Hunt, but it was not really conducive to victory. And then you bring in Fangio and you ask him to put his system in 1 year and then win a Super Bowl. But we do that. This is what the Dolphins do. There's something going on where the people at the very top never seem to be culpable. I think he's a good caller, and we got to see what he would be like if he had a decent offensive line that could run inside. I mean, you know how hard it is to call the way he has to and get the ball out as fast as he has to, and he can't run inside. There's a stat. Hold on, I got a stat here. Look at his stat. This just says it all, man. It's where is it? Let me find out. I had saved for you today. Oh, I'm such a dope. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Okay, so I put it up on the screen, but I got to change it to a PDF. Arun Menon put this up. Worst third and 4th and 1 rushing team this year in terms of first down rate. Chargers, 31 attempts, 48.3%. Dolphins, 14 attempts, 14. You could blame him for not rushing more. I think that's fair, but 50%. Raiders, 28 attempts, 57%. Bengals, 22 attempts, 59%. Bears, 25 attempts, 60%. Bucks, 18 attempts, 61%. The percentages for us to run inside for that easy first down is not there. We cannot do it, no matter how much of the Hopium pimps want to tell you this offensive line is awesome. It's not. And it makes it much more difficult for him. And when Fangio, his defense, and people just really, they don't think things nuanced. It's the way ESPN has trained us to think. Fangio's defense is not a Flores defense. It's not a high-impact defense. It's kind of like the old Shula defenses, the bend but don't break. We're going to give that 17, 21 points, but you're expected to get, 24, 27, and then the smart caller is going to call up that nice little blitz like he did multiple times to give you that extra down so you can win. But we're asking this defense to be the, 86, 85 Bears. And it's not what this defense is designed. So the coaches now, because of this black hole that's the offensive line that can't even rush the football. I mean, how do you go to the Super Bowl with 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 rush attempts? Only 14 of them. Blame McDaniel, but at 50%. Go check out with the rest of the teams. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. What do you think these top 10 teams, and you check to see what these top 10 teams are, go look at all the top teams in the AFC. They've all got good offensive lines. They got offensive line depth and possibly pretty good tight end groups too to block. And so, McDaniel, I don't like the happy-go-lucky, snarky. I like it because I like to listen to it, but I don't like that as a coach. I like the Flores style. I like the Fangio style. That's what I grew up with. That's what the coaches I knew. I had one good offensive coach that was kind of a little bit like McDaniel, but not, just like a light. But the rest of everybody else, my running back coach was the nastiest Irish guy I've ever seen in my life. But this is not what people want it to be. They think this is a warrior sport. They wanted to turn it into like how you and I react, your emotions and all the stuff, and cry on my shoulder. And maybe it will work out, McDaniel, but I don't know. I said if I've said from the very beginning, you can go check my quotes. If McDaniel has success, he's going to add nitro to it. He's that kind of coach. Like Pete Carroll. But Pete Carroll had some problems early on with that personality. Most notably when he was with New England with Chris Greer's father as the GM, which I thought was ironic. But I don't know what he would do when things got tough. And so I like his potential. I think he needs more marination. I definitely think he needs a better offensive line. Shanahan's great, but he's got Trent Williams, one of the greatest tackles of all time. And, he's got a much better offensive line talent. And so I think that what they're going to do is if we lose this game, McDaniel and Fangio will get put up there. Chris Greer won't be spoken of. There'll be no major article saying that, Chris Greer, he was here for Gase. He was calling for the shots then. He even said it when Flores took over. He said, I was calling the shots no matter what with Tannenbaum and Gase. So, you got 2016. It's not, 2019. It's 2016 to now. Greer's been here, and he won't become culpable. They'll fire McDaniel, call him, 2 week or whatever. They'll get rid of Tua and maybe have Fangio take over because he's got one more year on his contract than McDaniel. And the cycle will continue. So I don't know. I don't know. I think he could be okay, but I don't think he's been given the best circumstances. I think it wasn't fair to take a guy that green, say win now, and here you go. The most important unit in the game of football, we're going to give you bupkis. We're going to throw smishmash things up on the wall. Here you go. Make the best of it, kid. So I don't know. Let me see, where am I going to? I think I got off the rails here. Sorry, guys. Let's see. Let me see. Eichenberg hates physical contact. The kid's a good kid. I mean, Eichenberg is a good kid. He is giving his all. And, and the same thing I said about years ago about Jackson. But the problem is they are giving their all. Now, Jackson, I think, has way more upside. And I think Eichenberg could be much better in years, but they're just not physical specimens in the sense that they just don't have that strength, that ability to dominate. And I don't know if it's technique. I don't know what it is. But he's a good kid, but he just doesn't got it. There's no way you're going to the Super Bowl with him at center, in my opinion. I hope I'm wrong. So let me get back to this. That's the offense. So, I think that they're going to be able to get the run game going. I think Allen will too, but they've been inconsistent. Allen throws bad picks. I don't know if it's the injury, but he also makes big plays. But the thing that gives me hope is those deep plays. His ball's been falling short, and he hasn't been as accurate. So I like, that inconsistency point. They've also got some penalties and some turnover issues. But they had the matchup edge as far as the 4 wide receivers. I think they had the edge as far as their front versus our front in some areas. And it will be up to Elliott and Holland to play over the top. But somebody was mentioning before, and I was talking about it too, that inside blitz. If you go back and you watch New England last week, they were doing inside blitzes and getting in lightning quick and screwing with Allen and messing it up. And Baker's the guy to do that. Long kind of can. Riley can't. But Baker is a brilliant blitzer. And if he can come in and get some of those blitzes off, it can kind of create those situations where maybe we could take advantage of it. Hey, Raven, let me see what this is. Unless Ross finally gets Harbaugh to come, that happens. You can say goodbye to you can say goodbye and don't think Harbaugh. Yeah, no. If somehow we got Harbaugh, Greer would be gone. And I think Harbaugh would do the most important thing is get rid of the scouting staff. Our scouting staff, I'm sure there's some good guys among them, but overall, there's just repeated failures over the last couple of years. We're good at certain positions, but I would, if Harbaugh came in, if you notice that Ross said when Parcells was here, he got nervous because he was a tough guy and a guy with a name, and he didn't talk to him, and Parcells thought he wanted him gone, and that was what led to the breakup. And then he kind of got all these other guys. Then he got Sperano, who had Sperano in there, and they didn't get along. And then he got Gase, who was like a wallflower. And then he got, Queasy, Philbin. And then he got Gase, who's another crazy wallflower. Then he got Flores. He didn't get along with them. And then he kind of got another wallflower in McDaniel. Harbaugh coming in, I think, would be the best possibility because he would clean house. And that's what this team needs if they lose. Now, like I said, we're not there yet. We win this week, we're second in the conference. And, we make good on our first 2 games, and then it changes the narrative. So let's not say we're dead yet, but, I got to say what I really feel and what I've evaluated, and I think that's a major, major issue. Anyway, so let's get into us offensively versus them defensively. And I thought, you guys my man. I thought that Daquan wasn't in, but he played a couple snaps the prior week. I think somebody said 28. I thought it was a little less than that. I got to check. But he's going to come back in. He's probably going to play equal or more, and some of that rust is going to come off. And that's a problem because you got Settle, Linville, Joseph, big guys. They can slam in there. They're going to go against Cotton and Eichenberg. And Hunt, I believe, he's going to have some rust, but he's the big guy who can hold it off. Oliver, I think he plays on the left side. They got him on the right here, but I remember seeing him a lot on the left. If there's any Bills fans, let me know. But they're going to be able to rotate those guys, and Daquan Jones is going to be able to suck up, either take Hunt one-on-one or suck up Cotton and Eichenberg together and then put one-on-one with Oliver versus Hunt, which will be very, very I think that'll be a good matchup. But, they're going to be able to kind of get some blitz. They do a lot of blitzes too, and Dotson is playing unbelievable. Bernard is a great blitzer, and so there's problems in there with those inside blitzes. I do like Armstead. People are getting on him because he stood in his stance and they got a blitz. It happens. This guy is on probably so many pain meds. He's in so much pain playing through. The guy is probably aching every night. They probably got him on stuff to go to sleep at night too. This guy's probably on meds 24/7. He's in tons and tons of pain, and he does look like it's slow, it's wearing on him, but he's still good, man. He's still going to be able to do his thing for the most part. And Jackson, I think Jackson's going to be another key. I think his play will boost up a little bit because Hunt's there. When Hunt's not there to kind of help him out like the big brother, you could see over the last couple of weeks he was just taken advantage of. So I think we have some opportunities, but Rousseau is a beast. Vaughn's been getting in ages. He's like a half a step short, and he's Vaughn. So that's going to be a guy to rotate. Floyd's good pass rusher, but not, he's not good at anything else. Then, Oliver Settle and all that. And then Espinosa has been a big playmaker too. So they got a lot of guys to rotate in there. Elevated, what's going on, brother? Got here, everyone, and can't wait to hear your ideas and excitement. It's what football's. Thank you, brother. Thank you, man. I'm trying not to be biased. I'm trying. I don't like Greer, but I love my team. I'd rather be wrong than watch another rebuild, another meltdown. But good to see you, brother. But Waddle was running routes today, and that's a big deal, guys. I said that when we got Hill. They're going to create game-changing leverage. The two of them force guys to play off. That secondary backs up, and it creates space, especially on the edges. And that's why we get a lot of outside runs. But it also creates stuff inside, and it opens up pockets to throw the football. When you only have one, it kind of changes the leverage that the teams play, obviously, because we don't have that kind of speed. The speed forces guys to play off. So I don't know how good Waddle's going to be. I think he's going to play, but it might be spot duty. And, you can run routes and stuff, but once a guy drags you down and an ankle twists, I don't know. Berrios, he's been cold for a while. He could do something. Cedric Wilson can do something in mid-clock. I like his blocking. Somebody else mentioned Claypool. He had that beautiful touchdown he dropped. So it shows the potential. And, Poyer and Hyde, Poyer's still pretty good. Hyde's been a little bit slow. They kind of sometimes let some stuff get over the top. It just doesn't get there that quick because of all the pass rush. But you look at Douglas. They picked him up in a song dance. Man, what a great trade that was. This guy's playing out of his mind. And Benford, he's a little slow, but he's been playing really well. Johnson is good every year practically. They got Dane Jackson. He can cover. So he's a guy you can bring in for rotation. I don't like – they got Rapp, but he's not really that good. He's really struggling this year. So they have the ability to, if they're sitting in that light box and playing off and we're running to the edges and we can't run inside and they can dial stuff up and get us off schedule, then I don't think it's going to go well for us. But if we can get that run game going and we, even if we can get a couple of these big plays, it might drive them off. But they're going to have the edge of their defensive line versus our offensive line. We're just going to have – but guys can play above the head. Cotton and Eichenberg can play above the head. Maybe they get some stuff going. It's going to be – Dotson's really, really good, guys. Bernard, more of a pass rusher, but he's a solid second. And I said McDermott calls a really good game. It's going to be very important. If Waddle plays all game, it's going to be a huge boost for us. You're going to see a little bit. You're not going to see what happened last week with the Ravens. They condensed on us. They kind of really stymied Hill a ton, and they were able to focus. You just can't focus as much, and it really causes major problems. So, but they can get in quick. They're a very good pass rush team. And so I don't know. I was really a lot happier before I found out Daquan was in. Okay, genuine question. Hold on a second. This is it, dude. If we lose this game, forget it. The build is over. It's a failed build. And then it's not 100%, but if you're going to lay out the odds, let's put it this way. You can't get rid of Tehran next year. He's locked in because we pushed money into the future. Is his body going to be better or worse? He's going to be a year older. All these injuries are going to settle in. You're going to probably go through the injury thing again. Hunt, he might command a big salary. I don't know what the injuries, but you might be able to bring him back. Connor, he's going to be out for a while. Are you going to resign him maybe for a cheap thing or something? But you're not going to have you set. You're going to have to start the season off with Eichenberg. You'll have Rodgers back with the Jets, and they're going to be certainly better. Whether they're going to be good enough, I don't know. Then the Bills are not going to have Dorsey to start the season off. And then X, what's going on with X? You know what I mean? Cam Smith, is he going to finally get it together? That's a big, big, big hole. He could. It takes a while for these guys, but it's not looking good that he's not getting any snaps. Tyndall, going to be entering his third season. He's got almost no snaps. Easy. We could have had Zach Tom, but we have disdain for the offensive line. We got Jackson, which I think he's overpaid. Unless he shows up, he's got a chance. He hasn't shown up the last couple of weeks to make good on his thing, but I'm not really hyped about that. So then you're going to have to draft guys on the offensive line. We struggle with the offensive line. You can't pay guys. We're over the cap. We got to, cut guys. And, you could cut this guy, but then you got to fill in all the holes and then add stuff in there as well. Elliott, you're going to have to bring him back. He's a free agent. Baker, he'll come back, but if you want to get rid of him, then you have to get another linebacker or else you got to keep his salary. Long's still going to be here. Wilkins you're going to have to pay him good money. Tua's on the last year of his contract. Waddle's soon coming up. Phillips is going to be out for a while. When is he coming back? And how long does it take him to get his game on? Vaughn, look where Vaughn is now. It's the end of the season. He's still not really contributing. Van Ginkel's a free agent. So Mostert's going to be a year older. And then you go into the next year, and then all these guys you got that coming into free agency, Holland and Waddle, and this is it, man. I mean, next year you could get some good picks and things could go your way, and maybe you get into it, but I think this is the peak talent season. And if we don't hit this, it's going to be ugly because we've got a nice break this season. We got some injuries, but it kind of came later on. Right? We were able to navigate the waters with some bad teams. Our division wasn't good. Jets really it was like, 2 freebie wins practically. Patriots, they had loads of injuries and there was all kind of turmoil. Bill's probably going to get fired. So you're going to have a whole new thing going into next year probably. And, if we go into the playoffs again, it's going to be another kind of tougher schedule. It'll be interesting to see who we play, but I don't like it. If we don't win, to me it says you screwed up, especially because I'm a nobody, dude. I'm nobody. I called this all out. Even when we were running for 350 yards, I said the offensive line's not good. It's going to hurt us. I said we need to run the football inside. We need to run on short down yards. I showed the stat before. We couldn't do it. This is not successful football, but we could prove it wrong right here. We could draft offensive linemen, but what's our success rate? If you read some people, they say Eichenberg was a success, Jackson was a success. But what if we spent 2 4th rounds on Kinley? We spent a 2nd and 3rd on Jackson, passed up on like top guy on Eichenberg. Jackson, I still don't think Jackson's that good. I mean, you look at Brown. They drafted him in the 3rd round. He's better than Jackson. He's got to block longer. He run blocks. can we get those guys? I don't know. We haven't done it in the past. What's our hit rate? Hunt's the only guy that we've drafted in, I don't know, a long time, 10 years maybe. That's like, oh, wow, I'm impressed. I mean, I like what we did with Connor. I thought that was good. Yep, time is now. That's right, brother. That's it. Because you know what it is? They're going to do? Oh, if we lose this week and then we lose next week. Oh, it was the injuries. Don't worry. Next year's going to be. And they're going to go through the hype cycle again. And I think it's garbage. It's now. It's now. I'll give it the possibility next year, but then 25 is a total rip down. And, a lot of the things that people were saying were good picks and stuff. I mean, Chubb, how much you gave out for Chubb? He did pretty good this year. He was doing really good, but he got injured, and he's always been injured. Same thing with what's his face? Win. You bring in injury-prone guys, injury history, and they get injured, and then you pay him $23 million a year, and then you give all these picks away. We spent a lot of premium picks, multiple premium picks on bringing guys in, which I get. I mean, for Hill, it was worth it. Waddle, maybe. But, to me, I was a little concerned that you spend 2 on Waddle and then all those picks on almost a whole draft on Hill plus the salary. I see what it is. But then, you did it for Chubb, too. When you could have why didn't we draft Zach Tom? Zach Tom came into our house. Like I said, I'm a nobody. And I'm like, dude, Zach Tom, this guy's like off the charts athletics. He's playing right tackle out of his mind. He can play any position. We don't like it, though. We could have had him. Who do we get? Easy and Tyndall. So do I believe? No. Is it possible? Yeah. It's this year. That's it for me. This is my final. If they do not play well here, the compensatory picks, that is my sofa GM in a nutshell. Yeah, I got to see what it is, but you need like 95% of snaps. There's some guys that we could let walk and get some picks. I got to check on that. Oh, I meant in terms of season, but you brought up an interesting topic. Who should we focus on keeping in the face of all these free agents? Got to keep Hunt. You can't draft offensive line. Got to keep Hunt. Connor, you can't re-sign him because of the injury. You don't know what's going to happen. You got to keep Hunt, though. If you don't keep Hunt, you're going to. We'll keep Hunt. He'll Hunt and Wilkins. We need physicality. Can't let those guys walk. Let me see. I'm sorry. It's all about no matter what they tell you. Speed and excitement and big plays. In the NFL, the offensive line makes the world go around. I coined that phrase. I was running back, not big time or whatever, but, I played junior college. I played in high school, junior high school. And also I've run behind bad offensive lines. It's terrible. You can play peewee and you get hit in the backfield 10 times a game. I love my offensive line. It's like basic. You don't need a top 5 offensive line. You need like 15 to 10 or 15 to 8 and good depth. That's what you need. Like we could have got Morgan Moses, who's with the Ravens. He with the Jets, I bet you, kicking themselves. He got $5 million a year. This guy's playing out of his mind. It's physicality. We try to recreate Dan Marino's offense, and what Dan Marino do with it? Nothing. He went to the Super Bowl. That was great. Awesome stats. I loved it. But he would have taken the Super Bowl if he could have got half those numbers. Yeah, less injury-prone players too. Look, it's a game of odds. And Chris Greer, I give him respect in a lot of ways because he got cojones. He has decisions. He sticks with his guys. He says, screw it, I'm going riverboat, rolling, man. I respect it in some ways, but it's like, how many times you spin the cylinder and play Russian roulette? It's like everything. If you keep spinning that thing and clicking that thing, you end up like the deer hunter. You know what I mean? Like he is too risky. And you got to mitigate those risks, and you got to mitigate the speed with ability to run. Everything is the same. Zone stretch, outside passing, hit the pocket. We got like such a limit. There's nothing within the A and B gap that we control. And within like the 5 to 8 yards in the pass game, no tight ends going over the middle, no domination of the short center. It's all the same stuff. And every year, last year and this year, we come out hot and then they start, okay, every DC that's successful, they take what they do well and they start building up their menu on how to slow us down. And they just say, forget it. These guys ain't going to run inside. These guys ain't going to dominate us inside. Take away the edges, which is the same, stop the screens and the outside run, outside passes, and then take away the pocket pass over the middle. You saw Roquan Smith dropping back. His hand was there so many times. And in the one play where Van Noy was on the line of scrimmage, he dropped off, and then it said, Roquan's like, okay, I don't have to worry about that. I'm waiting. I know what's coming. And he was free to go. And that's what good DCs and good linebackers and good Ds do, So, whoa, Yuki, whoa. Dan Marino, listen, it is so, if you weren't there, you don't understand. Okay, so just imagine a guy having to carry the team week in and week out. No run game, 0 run game. And then after, he had Dwight Stevenson at center, and it was beautiful, man. And then he got taken out by a miserable Jet. And then the offensive line was pretty much like in the Netherlands, but he had to keep slinging with no run game. And then the defense started breaking down. He had no defense. And then he got Webb and Sims, who are unbelievable pass blockers, but for whatever reason, the run blocking didn't happen, and we had no running back. I mean, Bernie Palmley was like our first 1,000-yard runner, I think, and he was like a postal worker. And then, I loved some of our receivers, McDuffie. I love oh man, what's the guy's name? The preacher. Oh, forgetting right now. How can I forget his name? I loved him. He was like the pastor. Oh man, he was a little bit older. Oh, come on, guys, give me his name. But he was, he was pretty good, but he wasn't great. He really didn't have great receivers after a while. After the brothers left. Can't think right now. He really didn't have, he had Jackson. Do you know, I better not tell that story. I met Jackson, our tight end's cousin, and heard some bad stuff I didn't like to hear about. And that Charger game, the playoff game. Anyway, so it was like the 300 year after year. And you just believed with Shula and Marino. This guy was just, I never saw him look down. No, it could be like 10 seconds left, down 50 points, and he was like screaming, ready to go. The only time I saw him broken was at the end of the Jags game. His will, his desire to play, he was beat like you wouldn't believe, and asked to carry at a time when, receivers were getting beat off the line. He was unbelievable. And anybody, who was there the whole time can, he couldn't do it. No quarterback can do it on their own. It's a team game. And that goes back to what we're doing here. You can't pass your way, finesse your way through. We got, a little bit better D than what Dan had sometimes, but I know. Ricky Williams. I loved Ricky, man. I always stopped being a Dolphins fan for like 2 or 3 years because I hated the stash. I hated what they did to Marino. I hated the stash. He's a nice guy, but I just couldn't stand him. But once we got Ricky, I was like, all right, I'm back in, man. I loved Ricky. I wanted him to go to Dolphins so bad. Dude, Rick, do you know there was a rumor going on? I think it was either Marino was going to go to Detroit or Barry was going to come to the Dolphins. And I think also Jimmy was trying to get Marshall Faulk. He didn't have – if you put Dan Marino on the San Francisco 49ers – that Joe Montana had, you know what he would have done with that? It's kind of like Barry Sanders if you put him on Emmitt Smith with the Dallas Cowboys and that offensive line. No, Yuki, you brother, man, I'm telling you, man, I love that guy, man. I'm a little bit of a fanboy, but So let me see, where am I at? I think I went off the rails. I think the energy drink, the pre-workout and the wine might have been a little too much. I was like back in the 90s, so that means it's our time. How's it now? And Mafia will rule our division again this year for that 4. Finally take it all the way. Lombardi trophies. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. You might beat us this week. I think I would put the odds in for you, Amy, but I'm concerned for you and me to beat the Ravens. That Ravens team is really good. And now they got Cook with that line. I don't know. And whoever beats the Ravens in their house, is really impressive. Barry. Yeah, I love Barry. That was one of the hardest things is like when I was younger in my 20s is watching Dan Marino go against Barry. I would hope that Barry would have huge rushing numbers but would lose. I love Barry so much, man. Oh, yeah, that was an unbelievable game, dude. I still remember that. Dan Marino was it was ridiculous. And he got, Shula, I think, it's like the super talented son. He kind of let him go a little too much. He would lean too hard into the pass game. And his drafts he took over as the GM and kind of like Bill, he had some good drafts at the end. He got Marino and then he got Webb and he got Sims, he got Cox. But his consistency dropped too. Yeah, you did, brother. I cried. I remember when Dan Marino was contemplating retirement. I'll give you a little. I feel embarrassed. There's a song, "Don't Give Up" by Peter Gabriel, and I remember sitting in the shower and it came on the radio, and I heard that Dan Marino was thinking about retiring, and going to retire, and the very next song was "Don't Give Up." I'm like, Dan, don't do it. You can do it, Dan. I'm like 20-something years old, like my early 20s. I love that guy, dude. He was a man's man, a true warrior. The only guy I thought that was more fiery competitive was Michael Jordan and Muhammad Ali. Dan Marino's competitive nature, he would never break. He was unbelievable, man. I just can't. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, it's a little fanboy, but not too much. Not worried about the Ravens. Cleveland will beat them down. And I don't know about that. I don't know. They'd have to go to their house. I don't know. I hope. I hope. My friend's a Raven fan, and I don't want him to hang it over me. He already called me up. Can you picture Cleveland versus – I would like us to be there. And, I have some Bills friends that are Bills, but that would be great for those two those two fan bases. That would be unbelievable. Could you imagine that? Can you imagine that? So let's. I got a little Dan Marino thing here. It's unfair to hold that because it's a team game. This is what I'm saying. What I try to do here is be like inside the NFL. If you guys go back and remember inside NFL. They were, they did a little of the drama thing, but it was like a lot of it was real football talk. And everybody knew that it's a team game. There is no quarterback, running back, anybody who took anybody to a Super Bowl that didn't have tons and tons of help. And, there's just, we always hear it's the greatest team game ever, but he didn't win a Super Bowl. Well, who did he have? I mean, he played with what? Denver played with what? He played with one Hall of Famer, Dwight Stevenson, and I think maybe one more. I'm trying to think who else. You could say Zach and Taylor, but that was the tail end. I'm hoping Webb gets there. But he really only played with one bona fide Hall of Fame player. But you look at Montana. He had Rice. He had Lott. He had who else? Rathman. Rathman's not in the Hall of Fame. Romanowski is almost there if he didn't take the steroids. I mean, I can't remember all the names. The D-end. He had so many Hall of Famers. That team was jacked. And you look at what Dan Marino had. It was like nothing. They when he went to the Super Bowl, all I did was play with like 3 down linemen, I think, and like everybody else was like D-backs and 1 linebacker. So yeah, Dan Marino was, it was a shame. It was a shame. All right, guys, I think I went off the rails. I don't know if next time I'm going to do the pre-workout and the wine. I might not be as coherent as I want. So in summation, inside game, no turnovers, and who can get the other team out of the nickel is going to be key. I think the Irvin Fryer. That's right. That's right. The Fryer, man. I loved Irvin Fryer. He was like like above average to good for a while. I still remember that touchdown when I remember when Dan came back from the torn Achilles in that muddy game versus New England, and it was like 4th and like 7 or something, and Dan Marino went for it all, man. I still remember that, and he hit Fryer on that deep out, the deep fly to the right, man. Oh, yeah, Fryer, but he wasn't, a Hall of Fame. He wasn't Rice or something. Thank you, Garrett. Thank you, bro. I'm bad with names. I forget my kids' names all the time. I say, hey, you a lot. What are you going to do, So anyway, inside runs, A-B gap, whoever dominates that, whoever gets the offense off schedule and containing Allen and turnovers, I think the Bills will win. But I do see us having a potential. Look at the Super Bowl wins, help the Hall of Fame call. There's plenty that are not in with better stats, with the ring on the rims. Yeah, it does. But look at Flacco. He's got 2 Super Bowls, so I guess he's twice as good a quarterback as Dan Marino. It does help if you got the, it's context. That's what I always say, like about Tua. How do you, we watch Dan Marino is like light years better than Tua. I mean, there's things that Tua does really well, but Dan Marino's like, way better, way better. And, he didn't have the offensive line. He didn't have the run game. And where did he go? He had 1 Super Bowl and then not much. And look at Kelly. Kelly was good with the K-gun, but that team was like insane. And he had Thurman Thomas. It's a team game and the framework. You got to judge everything in the framework. Thanks, bunches, for your time. Oh, thank you, guys. I can't believe you guys actually listened to me. I appreciate it so much. Anyway, guys, I appreciate everything. Gunslinger was the most valuable. Gunslinger was the most valuable line we drafted in 10 years. Gunslinger. Who's Gunslinger? Gunslinger was the most valuable line. That's a good one. Who's Gunslinger? Oh, you talk about Tua. There you go. Yes, throwing the protection. I'm a little slow. I got it that time. Thank you guys for everything you do. Get ready for the game. Understand, this is epic football. This is truly epic. This is a huge moment of time for the Bills and for the Dolphins. And these franchises, one of these 2 franchises is going to go in one direction this year and likely next going forward. This is as big a moment as it gets. Bills fans, that if you're still on here, good luck. I mean that. We're all human. It's just a game. Do want you to lose. And Dolphins fans, just understand what it is and try to be savvy, because the media is always going to try to get you to do the wrong thing. And then, then the wrong guys get put up there, and the guys who should get fired aren't. So anyway, have a good night, guys. I appreciate all you do. I will catch you again. I got to go chill out now. I'm freaking out. Pre-workout and wine. Good night, all. Thank you. Go Fins.